Hey, good morning, everybody. Hope you're doing amazing. We're live. Yes, we are live. Where is this? And turn off. Okay, we're muted. Hey, good morning, everybody. I hope you're doing well. Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to Wednesday. Welcome to Wednesday. It is September 28th, episode 1310. I want to see some of the folks that are jumping on here. Hey, Miss Liz, how are you? There's Alexandria. I love that name. If I have a daughter, God willing, one day from the miracles of the heavens, that's going to be her name. Hey, good morning, everybody. Good morning, VIPers. How are you? And good morning, YouTube. This morning, I have a conversation I wanted to share with you. Is a dialogue and a conversation about addiction to approval. Let me make a couple of co-hosts here. Co-host, boom. Co-host, done. Done. There we go. The question I have for you is this idea of being distracted, right? This whole month we're talking about being distracted. This whole month of being distracted, the biggest distraction is our addiction to approval. And this addiction to approval, I did an amazing call last night with somebody who asked me from Instagram to come speak to their community. And I got to meet Josh, and I got to meet Kelsey, and I got to meet Jacob, and I got to meet Mason, and I got to meet Jesse and Jacob. And these were all amazing souls that were on that call last night. Oh, and by the way, see how I didn't look at notes? I remember their name. Kind of important to remember people's names, but that's a whole other story. The idea of distraction takes place simply because of one thing. Let's break it down to the fundamental. The idea of distraction exists simply because the love that you have for your dream, listen carefully, this might hurt a little bit. The love that you have for your dream is second to the approval you desire from others. Y'all follow me? Let me say that again. The love you have, the passion you have, the desire you have for your dreams is second to the approval you want from others. That hits hard on a Wednesday morning. Let me explain why. It's called addiction to approval. We are always worried about what other people think. Now, I can tell you that people are going to have this conversation with me about, I really don't care what people think. Then do you go out in public nude? I know that's an extreme. Well, I can get arrested for that. Didn't talk about breaking the laws. I'm just talking about the addiction. So you're addicted to not going to jail. What are you talking about? Yeah, you're addicted to not going to jail. You don't want to go to jail. We can have this argument. I just play with me a little bit. Play along with me for just a little bit. There are certain protocols, there are certain requirements, there are certain rules, there are certain basic fundamentals. If the rule is you can't go outside naked because that's called indecent exposure, then what's the rule that you're using to keep you stuck? If you don't want to break the law, then why are you breaking the law of your own success? Why are you delaying your success? Why are you breaking the laws that say that you are an abundant creature? Bob Proctor said you were born rich. You were born rich. When a cop pulls up behind you, I don't care if you've never been in trouble with the police. When the cop pulls up behind you and the lights are going and the lights are flashing, your body goes nuts. It's so bad that when you drive by a cop, you go, stop that. Just don't be stupid. Stop. Sit down. Push. You shape up when you drive by a cop. And we wonder why cops sometimes have an authority challenge. Because the energy that everybody has around them, right? So let's take a look at your dreams. Let's take a look at money. Let's take a look at money. That's the thing that everybody wants most. Money, money, money. Money will give them peace. Money will give them joy. Money will give them this. And it will. Until. So when I talk to you about $5,000 a month extra coming into your life, $5,000 a month. With that, some of you that might not make a difference. Some of you it might. This conversation powered by ketones. Check out all of the information you want about ketones in your brain and then get a hold of me and I'll show you how to best use them. So let's talk about your brain and money. Let's talk about your body and money. You have to pay out, listen, you've got to pay out $1,000 today. You have to go buy something today and it's $1,000. What happens in your body? Follow me on this. You have to go put your credit card down, your debit card down, your bank card down, and you've got to pay $1,000 for a bill today. Based upon your current situation, we're not talking about anything other. Right now, with the amount of money you have in the bank account, you've got to go pay $1,000. What happens in your body? This is the phenomenon of neuroencoding. So what happens? Listen carefully. If $1,000 would stress you out today, what do you avoid? Listen carefully. This is where the addiction comes in. People who are addicts avoid being sober because they can't think they can adjust in normal life. People who avoid being sober and use drugs is because they can't avoid the conversation that goes on in their head when they're not drunk or spaced out. People who are depressed are not moving. They are definitely afraid of what's going to happen, and they're making up stories in their head that seem to be true, but in reality are not. So you got to go make $1,000 today. You got to go spend $1,000 today. The fact that you may or may not have that, the fact that it makes you comfortable or uncomfortable, here's the thing. Let's just say it makes you uncomfortable. You know what happens? You become addicted to avoiding $1,000 expenses. Well, hell yeah, Sean. I mean, I'm not going to go buy a pair of Louis Vuitton shoes. I said Louis Vuitton. I'm not going to go buy a pair of red bottom shoes. I'm not going to go buy a pair of, I'm not going to go buy a Louis Vuitton piece of luggage. Yet you want to be a millionaire. Yet you want to have hundreds of people inside of your community. You want to become a world-class author. What I don't know what the challenge is, but here's the thing. If you can't go spend $1,000 today, if the thought of spending $1,000 today flips you out, you will avoid $1,000 ideas. Pay attention to me. This is a secret. If you're resisting this, if there's a lot of words going on in your head about finding fault with something about me, that's called a distraction, and your approval of being poor is being challenged because nobody approved you to be poor. Well, I'll ask you, who approved you to be poor? Well, nobody approved me to be poor. No, what happened was you were taught how to be poor. You go to classes, you buy programs to learn how to become rich, don't you? You buy trainings to become rich. You buy trainings to find peace. You buy trainings to find this. You know what else you bought? You bought without even you having to spend a penny. You bought the idea of how to be poor. Why is he being such an ass today? No, that's your approval to addiction. That's thinking I'm an ass today. I'm an ass every day. Not today's nothing special. So what if you had to go spend $10,000? Now, let me make it a little bit more stressful. You have a friend in need who needs $1,000. You have a friend who, if they have $10,000, if you could give them $10,000, it would change their life forever. And you would easily, effortlessly, without a blink of an eye, give it. So why don't you do that? Why don't you have it? Because you haven't followed Bob Proctor's ideals of you were born rich. You were born rich. You had everything. You created universes when you were little. You had friends and partners and playmates and imaginary friends. And you left all of those geniuses behind. Why? So you could get into the grind, so you could put your shoulder down and nose to the grindstone and shoulder to the ground, and you could grind every day, and you forgot all of your imaginary successes. And you have been taught poverty. You have been taught frustration. You have been taught aggravation. You've been taught don't be loved. So how do you change that? It takes a rewire. It doesn't take an algorithm to fix the problem you have. How many people understand algorithms now and their business hasn't done a damn thing? How many people have spent courses on when best to post and they haven't done a damn thing in their life? How many people have learned the best scripts to say and it hasn't done a damn thing in their life? How many people have changed their company because this is a better comp plan and it hasn't done a damn thing in their life? How many people have changed their relationships and it hasn't done a damn thing in their life? Because the dam you're trying to break through is inside, not outside. And you keep swinging that hammer, breaking down dams all around you. And I'll be damned if you're. So now what do? This addiction to approval. How do you overcome it? You've got to rewire the stuff. I was on this call last night. I loved it. Oh my gosh, there was 14 new people I had never met before on this call. Kelsey, somebody from Instagram who's been following me, listened to my dangerous conversation, reached out to me in a private message, said, I just listened to your dangerous conversation video. And I was like, oh my gosh. She said, it was so awesome. I never thought of being dangerous in a positive way. I always thought danger was danger. Well, we need to become dangerously conscious about who we are, dangerously conscious about what we can do, dangerously conscious about our capabilities. Yet we've been taught poverty. We've been taught sit down, shut up. We've been taught fit in, don't stand out. And we've been taught you're not good enough. No fewer than 147,000 times. By the time you're 18, did you hear you're not good enough? It won't work. There's no way you'll do it. You heard negative input. And then 18, you got 19, I'm an adult. 18, I'm a full-grown adult. I can do what I want. And you have no capacity to do what you want. So you've been wired to become approval addicted. And you wind up running around making sure that everybody likes you so that you can get ahead. You got to make sure your boss likes you. You got to make sure your teachers like you. That teacher doesn't like me. I'm going to fail the class. And guess what? You fail the class. Not because the teacher didn't like you, because you set up an identity that didn't work. It worked absolutely perfectly for the words you say. And therefore, you think all of life is a shitstorm. And therefore, guess what? You've got pretty much a shitstorm running around you. You'd never find your center. You don't find your peace. You don't find your secret sauce, and you don't stand out, and you don't have self-talk that serves you. And you're going to go take a course on algorithms. How's that working for you? I'll be damned if it doesn't do a damn thing. So how do you break this chain? You've got to get around somebody that understands. You have to begin to look for, listen, I'm one of them. I'm just telling you right up front. I'm not afraid to sell me to you, because there is nobody on the planet who can do what I do for you. I spent 2 hours with 14 amazing souls last night. I didn't want to hang up. I was like a little kid. They were asking brilliant questions. They were asking wholesome questions. They were asking rich questions. They weren't asking me poverty questions. Well, why is the industry so hard? They weren't asking why outside, because when you point a finger out, you got 3 pointing back. They were asking the questions that pointed back to them. Somebody sent me a text last night, said, in the year and a half that I've been in this profession, I love the way they said it. They said, never, ever have I ever been on a call like that. One woman, Anna, she's this brilliant superstar. I asked her at the end, what did you learn? What did you like? She said, I've never been on a call where somebody uses my name, where somebody they speak to me. I've never felt so engaged in a conversation. I never laughed so much on a call. Jacob, I took Jacob through, some of you know in the VIP group, I took Jacob through the 90-second change your life forever, instantly guaranteed 1,000%. You will never go back to the way you were. In 90 seconds, I can rewire your brain and rewire your spirit and connect your heart to your brain so that you move your ass. He wanted to create this global empire of real estate. And I said, how long would it take you? He said, probably 30 years. I said, I could show you how we could get it done in 5. He said, no way. I said, guaranteed. Guaranteed. You pay me $100,000 right now and I'll show you, but you didn't have to pay me 100. In 90 seconds, I showed him, I said, is there any doubt at the end of the 90-second exercise that I did? Is there any doubt that you could do it? He said, none whatsoever. I said, then why are you going to piss away 25 years of your life? See, everybody wants to give you a path. Nobody wants to let you take your own path. So therefore, you walk on my path. Listen, the shit on my path stinks. You've got to find your own path. And too many people are afraid to let you find your own path. Why? Because they need you as their sheep. I need you as the freaking wolves that you are, the lions that you are, the lionesses that you are, and I need you to go devour fear and doubt. I need you to set the example for people. I need you to step into your power. I don't need you to be strong. I listened to some of the stories. There was one gentleman on there, one young, amazing soul, Josh, and I said, Josh, I got to ask you a question, brother. I said, we don't know each other. I said, but there's a tragedy been in your life, hadn't there? And I could just watch the neuroencoding and the story that he told me was so amazing without saying a word. And I said, Josh, you're afraid of people finding out about that, aren't you? And the way he looked and the places that he looked, listen, who you are speaks so loud, I ain't got to hear a damn word you're saying. And he said, yeah. I said, until we rewire that, brother, I said, it doesn't matter how much. Because somebody asked, so what's the secret to personal development? I said, personal undevelopment is the secret to personal development. And their brains went, what? It is impossible for you to keep stacking good on top of good, on top of good, on top of great, on top of good, when you got shit as a foundation. And you're trying to cover it up like a cat. You're so busy in the litter box, dealing with all of the troubles and the problems and the X's and the olds and the news and the things that you were no good and the abuses that happened as a child, the abuses that happened in a relationship, and you're trying to cover that. You're digging faster than a cat in a litter box. trying to cover it all up. Well, here's the thing. And then you stack good on top of it. Do me a favor. Go take Think and Grow Rich and put it in your litter box and tell me how great Think and Grow Rich is. Go take Millionaire Next Door and stack that on top of Think and Grow Rich and watch what happens to Think and Grow Rich. It gets pushed down into the shit. And you wonder why you're stuck and you are working so hard. You are busting your ass. You are in the grind, baby. Don't be in the grind. Get the hell out the grind. Get into the sharpener. Anything can grind. I can drag you down my driveway and grind you up. I can't sharpen you dragging you down my driveway. I can bring you into my mental workshop and I can sharpen you up. I can show you how to cut through fear and doubt and delay and procrastination. The key to personal development is personal undevelopment, but nobody's working on that. Nobody wants to talk about that. Nobody wants to talk about the scars and the wounds and the all of the the tumors and the moles that are on all of this stuff. These things that you think make you look ugly. They are what set you apart. They are the reason people will follow you. They are the reason people will fall in love with you, because if you've got a scar, they got a scar, and they go, I'll be damned, look, our scars match. The greatest secret to personal development is personal undevelopment. The challenge is nobody's going to take you. It's hard for you to go down the personal undevelopment side because there is so much approval to addiction. You need everybody to like you. You want everybody to, you dress like your community. You walk like your community. You talk like your community. And here's the thing, soon as you step out of your community, soon as you start not saying the word like, not saying the word fuck, you're not saying the word, whatever it is, grind. If you stopped using the word rise and grind, everybody, if you stopped using that, people say, why don't you, that's odd. Why aren't you saying that? Why aren't you saying that? We're all in the grind. Let's talk about being in the grind. We talk about that. That's what our mentor talks about. And they say we should rise and grind. Why aren't you talking about rising and grind? Because it's stupid. You want to rise? Listen to the words. I'm going to rise and grind the shit out of myself. I'll be damned if that doesn't work. Greatest secret to personal development is personal undevelopment. And where are you going to undevelop? How are you going to undevelop? What do you need to undevelop? You need to undevelop your brain. Your brain is sending signals to your body. And when you think about doing something, when you think about stepping out, your body starts to sweat. I need you to write a check for 10 grand today. Otherwise, somebody you love will be hurt. Somebody you love will be gone. Will leave this planet if you can't come up with 10 grand a day. Could you come up with 10 grand a day? You would rob, steal, cheat, beg, borrow. You'd be making phone calls right now. I promise you'd come up with the 10 grand because you got a story strong enough. And the reason that you've got a story strong enough is because I put you in state strong enough so that you could tell any story and the strategy doesn't frickin' matter. You are so focused on strategy, how. Listen, that doesn't work anymore. You want better answers, ask better questions. I can put you into a state that you could tell a story that would be so powerful that you could use any strategy to make it work. When is it time for you to wake up and live your life instead of the addiction, the approval needed for everybody else? Listen, some of you are under the shadow of your parents. I get it. Some of you are under the shadow of your parents, and it's been a 70-year story. It's been a 60-year story. It's been a 50-year story. It's been a 40-year story. Some of you, it's been a 10-year story. It's time to make a decision. And when you make the decision, you will need help. Otherwise, you go on this DIY crazy idea of personal self-development. There is nobody that develops on their own. There's nobody who develops on their own, period, end of story. And there's nobody who becomes a millionaire by themselves. So you're going to have to ask for help. You're going to have to stand in the humble pie land and say, I need some help. The challenge is that the last time you asked for help, somebody beat you around the brow and head and neck and chest area with words and comments and thoughts that you have swore you will never, ever, ever, never, ever, ever, never, 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 ever, ever, never, ever ask for help again. And now you're wired to stay stuck where you're at. You're going to grow incrementally. I want you to grow quantumly. So I'll leave you with this. I'll ask you a quantum linguistic question, a QLQ in psychology that we talk about. And here's the quantum linguistic question I want you to answer. Who do I need to reach my highest self? Who do I need to reach my highest self? And if the answer doesn't come to you from the people you already know, here's the answer that you want to put into that question. You need Sean Murphy. You need me. I know what I can do for you. I know what others have done to you. That's how I can help you unwire the bullshit that they put into you. When you're ready, you'll make a decision. And if there's something, because I just heard, if there's a phrase that you said, well, I wonder how much that's going to cost. Let me ask you this. Do you plan on making $100,000 a year? Do you have 10 years of your life left? Listen carefully. If you have 10 years of your life left and you plan on your desire is to get to 100K a year, maybe it's 100K a month, but let's just say it's 100K a year. That's 120,000. I'm just going to keep the number simple because I'm a farm boy. So 100 grand a year times 10 years, that's $1 million. And you're wondering, how long are you going to wait to get to your $1 million? And if it's less than $1 million, wouldn't it make sense? Because you probably plan on living beyond that, because any tool I teach you, you get to take with you. How long are you going to wait? How long is too long? And so when you go to invest in yourself, the best investment you'll ever make in yourself, you don't believe you can get to 100 grand. Otherwise, you'd be lining up. My calendar would be filled with people saying, teach me, show me. 10 grand, I'll give you 10 grand. You're going to give me 100 grand, I'll give you 10 grand. I'll do that all day long. So if I could give you 100 grand at the end of the year, 12 months from now, how many 10 grands would you give me? I'd give you all I could. Then why are you waiting? Because you're neuroencoded, your self-talk, your addiction to approval is saying, I'm not ready. Do you see how you get your butt kicked left, right, and center the second you hear an idea that makes sense? You decide, yeah, I would love to do that if I had the money. What if you could pay for it as you go? I'll make it as simple as possible. What if you could pay as you go? It's 10 grand, you pay as you go. And if I don't create the income, you get it back as a guarantee. Many of you still won't do it because you don't have the guarantee in yourself. This is why you need to go ahead and buy some of my programs. Everybody last night said, we got to get on to what program do you have? And I said, the one that will kick your butt left, right, and center, but will change your business forever is the 12-week mastermind. Go to 12weekswithsean.com. Get signed up. Get started. It's a simple way to see if I'm as good as I say I am and as good as I think I am. You got to rewire this. You can have the biggest biceps, but it doesn't matter if you're afraid to talk to people. You could run a mile in 3 minutes and 30 seconds. You can run a mile in under 4 minutes and be world class. But if you can't talk to people, you won't grow your business. What does every Olympic athlete, gold medal winner have? They all have somebody who coaches them. How do you coach an Olympic athlete at its highest? How do you coach somebody who's at their best of their game? You can't teach them how to work any harder. You've got to tweak their mindset. They have the habitual actions in their muscles. Dennis Waitley talks about how he would have Olympic athletes run the program in their mind, and they hooked up muscle electron, I forget what it was, but they hooked up measuring devices to their muscles, and while they were running it in their mind, the same muscles activated, and they weren't even on the track or on the field. You have a muscle program, a habitual program that's running for your success right now, that's running for your wealth right now. That's going to require a rewire. And when you rewire, you become somebody new. And then the challenge is everybody's going to go, well, have you lost your mind? The answer is no. I finally found my spirit. So on this Wednesday, I ask you to draw a line in the sand. Do you want more? You don't have to do more to have more. You've actually got to do less and you will become more. I've proven it for 40 years. You got to learn to say no to some stuff. So I'll be damned that I'm going to let you slip away. I'll be damned I'm going to let you fall off the wagon. And if you decide to allow me to serve you, I'll be damn sure you win. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. There's your Wednesday Addiction to Approval conversation from the Daily Awakening. I'm Sean Murphy, a 5-time #1 best-selling author and certified in a whole bunch of things that seem boring to most, but they are the key to success for others. I'm your head misfit. I'll see you all where? I'll see you at the next event. Thanks, everybody, and bye for now. Instagram, I love you. Bye-bye. And YouTube, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Have an incredible day. I am your misfit of fortune. I'll see you where?